Well, we are out here on the east side of our tree planting that I thinned last year, and the giraffe and crew went down through here and took out the first row. Actually, they didn't take them all the way out. They pruned them, they cut them down to where I can drop them without getting in the power line. And they're going to come back through here and mulch up the leftovers. And the plan is I'm going to drop these stems and buck them up and get them out of here for firewood before they come back through here to mulch all this. The giraffe does a fast job, does a pretty good job. My trouble with the giraffe is when they side prune a tree, they do not prune it back to the stem. You know, a tree, when you prune it, should be pruned back to the stem, and you can see they're leaving stubs there. Well, that's not a good thing, and I'll come back through here later on with the pole saw and prune some of those back as far as I can reach up. And see, there's a pecan tree. They reached in here and took the top out of it. I want to get him. That would be good firewood. But yeah, you can see I've got a bunch of stems here to drop. So that's today's project, is go down through here and start dropping stems. And I guess I'm going to start with this pecan tree right here. And I think, yeah, turn around here, nothing else here, but you can see the left stubs. Could have got a little closer, but you know, I can't change that. When utilities went to pruning to arboricultural standards, they quit doing that. Now that they've got this giraffe, they've gone back to doing it. And you know, what do? You know, times change. Some things you can't fight, and this is one of them. At least I did get them to leave these trees where I can make firewood out of them before they come through here and finish. So that's one. That's a pretty good little bargaining thing to get that done. And yeah, I've got a few trees here to drop, and I'm going to start with that pecan tree right there. Okay, here we are at the base of that pecan tree. You look up, it's got a heck of a lean, and it's going to drag through that tree right there. What is that, a bur oak? Not sure. No, that's a pecan. That's another pecan there. I can tell from the rakuses left on it. Anyway, it's going to rake through that. I'm going to aim it right over there toward that stub. I had to take down a little white oak in between here. And I'm just going to see if I can fit this on my axe right here and see if we can get a picture of it going. Let me see here. Looks here. I'll get back see if that shows you anything wrong. Got sticks in the way. Okay, there's the tree. There, that's pretty good. Okay, I'll try not to kick the camera over as I start this. Pull a few more of these weeds out of your way here. The leaves, the sticks. Okay. Try not to kick you over there. There's a little mulch floor in the way. Okay. Shield down, ears down. Here we go. and it hung up. Rats. That caught it. There's not enough weight in that crown. Not enough weight in that crown to make it fall through that. Doggone. Well, son of a gun. Anyway, perfect cut on it, but it is hung up in that thing. Rats. Not much I can do about it. Well, I can go ahead and chunk it down. That's about all I can do is chunk it down. Anyway, that's what it's going to be like, I think. These don't have any top in them. This one caught. I'll see if I can shake it down. I got to put the camera away though. It's sitting on the ground. I'll step on it. Anyway, we'll catch you up at the other end after I get a few laid down. This looks like an easy project. There is more tanglefoot in here. Tanglefoot everywhere. And here's the deal. There's no weight up there. Well, the little bit of weight it has is backwards. I wanted these all to fall the same way. And I've got a nice thin hinge, you know, under an inch thick hinge. And there's nothing up the top to make her go over. So every one of these is going to have to be wedged over, I think. Let's go, baby. It's thinking about it. Anyway, it needs, look at that. It's not got any real back lean at all, but this tree really doesn't want to go over. Let's see if I can get that in there. Come on. There, I got it started. Pushed it with my shoulder. There she's going. Swamp. There we go. That's what it's going to be like all the way. Nice little, what, swamp white oak or burr oak. Not sure which this is. Anyway, you can see it's not a red oak, it's one of the white oaks. Let me see. Now, I'm seeing white oak leaves down here on the ground, so that's a plain old white oak. But they do not want to go over. That's going to make some nice firewood. These little ones like that, I wish he'd knock them down. I'm not going to bother with them. They can grind them down. So I go to that next one. It's up there about 40 feet. That's the next one. So this is not a hard project, but boy, the tanglefoot in here, and every one will want to be wedged over. So I think what I'll do, what I did on this one is I cut out one side and set a wedge in there, and I could see it wasn't going to go. I should make my cut on one side and just stick 2 wedges in right at the beginning and tap them in, and 2 wedges will make them all go over. And I've got to try to keep that hinge down. It's about 1 inch thick. You should try to go under that, and what happens is you might sever your hinge, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so got to pick up here and move to the next tree. And here's a nice cherry bark that Susan and I planted. Oh, that's a big tree. You can see the color difference between this and white oak. You got some nice red color there. Now on this one I did a face, and I cut until I had about 2.5 to 3 inches of hinge wood there. I stuck in my orange wedge, just tapped it in light, finished cutting until I was up under 1 inch, cut it down to less than 1 inch on the hinge, then put in my wide wedge, pounded it in, and it went right over. So moving on to the next one. Well, everybody should go out and practice on a pole. This is the trouble. Here, look at her. It's been sitting there. It didn't want to go. There she went. Look, I just got just over an inch on that hinge. I got it up where it was starting to bounce off the top of that wedge. And it just sat there while I got the camera out. Then it finally went ahead and tipped. They're a little tricky. That is hard to believe that we stuck these trees in the ground ourselves. Look at the size of that. My gosh. That was early 90s, you know, like 91, 92. We put those in. And my gosh, you could cut a 10-foot saw log out of that. Make some nice lumber. Anyway, when you don't have any weight up top, they really don't want to tip. You know, they don't have much carrying them over. Okay, well, we're getting up the road a little bit. And boy, I got a lot of wood here to buck up. Okay, back to work again. Well, on these nice cherry barks, I have modified my cutting method just a little bit. What I'm doing, I don't need a full-length hinge, so the hinge is a little bit abbreviated. There's no weight up there, so, and I'm punching through, trying to leave right at an inch. And rather than cutting out half the back and setting a wedge and cutting out the other half, after I punch that through, I am just cutting right to the back and stopping short. And while I'm stopped, I stick in my thin wedge, just so the tree doesn't sit back on me. And then I stick in my other wedge after, and I'll stick that one in, cut out the back, and then I stick in my thick wedge. And we are ready to drop that over. And see, got a stub tree. So we'll come back down here and tap it over. Well, I must have my hinge a little too thick on that baby. I wish you would go. Oh, it's wobbly. Just doesn't quite want to go. I don't think that will stick in there. Yep. No, that's not gonna do it, is it? Ha! Oh boy, I'm jammed up. Let me see if I can go a little bit farther. I think that's up to the hinge. Yeah, I got her in there deep. Maybe I can stick that under it. I gotta lay the camera down here a minute. Hey, I do have that started. I don't know if I can keep pushing it or not. Oh, popped back out. Try that again. Oh, she popped back. There, got it. I got it started. I felt it give. Okay, here we go. And she's gonna go. Got her down. Yeah, I had just a little bit too much hinge on the far end there. Not bad. I mean, if it had a regular top, it would have been no problem. Okay. And look at the growth rings. Look at the growth rings on these trees. Cherry bark is just a wonderful tree to grow. If you have a place that'll grow oaks, you want to plant cherry bark. They have been tried, you know, clear up north of Indianapolis. So you can push them north a little bit from their natural range. But my gosh, what a beautiful tree, fast growing red oak. I love our cherry barks, and that will make some fine firewood. Okay, put this away again. I got a few more up there to cut yet. I had to go refuel, ran out of fuel. While I was there, I got rid of that orange wedge. That's my thin wedge. And of course, this is my medium wedge, and that green one's my thick wedge. So I left the thin wedge, grabbed the thick wedge, and that makes a difference. I can start out with my medium and then add the thick one. And boy, look at the size of this tree. I did a diameter reduction slice on both sides of that to make sure my little 20-inch bar reached through that. It reached okay. You see I got a nice thin hinge there. And punched it through over here, got it thin there too. But make sure we got her, yeah. Anyway, we did a little slice there to make sure I could reach through it. So we're ready to tip this one. Okay, grab my pounder. Here we go. I'm going to get that string out of the way. She kind of bounces every time. Hear that hinge talking just a little bit. See, look how much we lifted the back of that. It's just kind of dancing there on that hinge. Okay, let's hit her again. There she's going. Womp. My gosh, this is a saw log. I could cut a 10-foot saw log out of that. It's a nice tree. How on earth did I grow a tree that big? My gosh. Okay. That's the last of the good ones. There's some more little ones up there, just a very few. I guess, you know, the tractor's going to have trouble pulling this one. I was looking at these and deciding whether I want to buck them here or drag them out. I figured out I need to drag them out of here because picking up every chunk of wood here and trying to get through this tanglefoot is going to be hard. So what I'm going to do is, on one like this, I'll cut off about 8 feet, hook on, I can drag that out, and then come back and get the rest of it. But dragging these out is going to be the way to go, because trying to buck in here with all this mess and then carry each piece into the back of the RTV, it's just asking to wear yourself out. So we'll come back here with the tractor and start dragging these out. And I think I've got all the ones worth getting. The rest of those are like, 6-8 inch trees. So I may be done here for the day. That'd be a good deal. I need to go feed my kitties. Catch y'all later. Thank you very much for visiting. This has been a fun project. I hate it that they used that giraffe on here, but times change and some things we don't have the power to change. Look at the size of my growth rings here. That's almost that's over half an inch. It's almost, like 5/8 of an inch thick. Got some nice growth rings. If you can get them and you have a place, grow cherry bark oak. Boy, they make timber in a hurry for you. Catch y'all later. Bye-bye.